Hello, and welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Mike. I am your host, Michael Beckford, and today we're dealing with some serious topic. Everybody's been hearing the news, I've been watching on YouTube. Today's topic is Israel versus Palestine, the Middle East in crisis. Saturday, October 7, 2023 is the date that some scholars are marking the worst date in Jewish history since the Holocaust. Some pundits are even comparing this date that the Hamas fighters decided to declare an all-out assault on Israel as Israel's quote-unquote 9/11, which many of us, of course, remember this date and each subsequent year thereafter as a date that changed American security. A lot happened after 9/11 here in the United States of America. The Department of Homeland Security was formed. The TSA, which operates in every airport in the U.S., was formed. The very controversial Patriot Act was written and put into law by Congress. And then, of course, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, for which the United States taxpayer has spent trillions of dollars. To what gain? The Biden administration left Afghanistan during the first term of his administration, which is right now. And as a U.S. soldiers exited Afghanistan looking like kids that just lost a soccer match because mommy's not going to give them any more ice cream. Okay? I know that sounds a little bit like, what are you talking about? But at the end of the day, it's kind of what it is. We just kind of ran between our tails and got up out of there. The point of the matter is, for all the technology advances, for all of the mighty might of the United States of America, we never could fully succeed at fighting this one agenda. And that agenda is called an ideology. Now, you can call it terrorism, barbarism, whatever kind of funky name that gets you off. But the fact of the matter is, we've seen this movie before. And what Israel decides to do from the atrocities, of course, that is taking place on their own soul will be the determining factor of whether they're continuing to fight this endless war against the Palestinian people. Will finally decide to leave the Palestinian people the hell alone, or will they give them back their land, grant the Palestinian people their statehood, both Israel and international community, and move on with their day? Now, of course, we've seen all the atrocities that were taking place on this Saturday, October 7, 2023. From the Hamas organization inside of Palestine. And, well, inside of Israel, actually. But it happened in Palestine as well. But either way, from kidnapping to killing, shooting rockets, anything imaginable that's despicable, Hamas, the organization known as Hamas, has done. But 4 days into this fight, we also see a crucial element that people are missing. That element is the fact that Israel has launched a full-blown air campaign and is not just targeting Hamas and military personnel, but they're literally just placing bombs in the middle of a heavily populated city that will do nothing but have unnecessary casualties of war, i.e. women, children, and men that have nothing to do with what happened Saturday, October 7th, 2023.
This is 5 Minutes with Mike, our news, our voice, and our opinion. With your host, Michael Beckford. Now stop, listen, and pay attention for 5 Minutes with Mike.
Five Minutes with Mike.
Education is fundamental. People will pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for an education. Let's Get Published takes the guesswork out of publishing a book within 90 days or less at a fraction of the cost.
Now, back to the episode of Israel versus Palestine. We're going to start off with the first point of reference here. One man's hero is another man's terrorist. Here in the United States of America, we celebrate our U.S. military. We have national holidays and parades in honor of their service. It takes on a form of nationalism, which is not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing to have some layer of feeling safe in the place where you call your home, and it is the place in a nation state for which you were born in. So for myself, I was born here in the United States of America. China, Iran, Russia, Israel, every major country, which in most nations in the world, with the exception of Japan and maybe a few others that I don't quite know of at the time, have some sort of standing active military that is ready to engage the moment their defenses are breached. But what happens when your military servicemen and women take on different departments, such as the U.S. Navy SEALs? And they act out secret missions that only those that are in the higher upper chambers of the Pentagon and White House even knows. You see, I am an American citizen. And as far as I know, these men that decide to sign up for war are my heroes. But to those that have to face the long barrel of the gun from these very men of which I call my hero, to that individual or nation state that sees these same Navy SEALs, which is part of the U.S. military, can be looked at as someone else's terrorist. This is the constant tug of war that is happening right now as bombs are dropping in the Gaza Strip of Palestine, as rockets are still being launched from Gaza into Israel. Each side view the other as its terrorists, as those that dress up in uniforms on their side as looked at as their heroes. On to my next segment. The brown man versus the white man. White Europeans have quite a history when it comes down to war and an eradication of a people. The brown man also has some similar histories as well. Mankind has been fighting each other since the beginning of time. You can go all the way back into the story of Cain and Abel, which can be found in the Holy Bible. But if we were to fast forward within the past, say 400 to 500 years, we see a distinct trait and or agenda from the white man in the eradication of the brown man. This is played out right here in the United States with the near extinction of the Native Americans to this particular land by, the white man. Natives that were native to Australia faced the same notion of almost a complete purge of their people. And let's not get into the slave trade. Time and time again, through some of the most recent history with the British Empire included, we see the white man practically dominating the brown man. The white man has taken advantage of technology and fiduciary resources in order to accomplish this particular agenda. So what does this have to do with Israel versus Palestine? The answer is everything. For many years, the Western media has framed Palestine as the boogeyman to Israel. Palestine, of course, and particularly Hamas, has been bad actors against the Israelis. Let's not kid ourselves. But what Western media generally doesn't cover is the fact that whatever Palestine does to those that are in Israel, whatever evil they do, it usually comes back 10 times harder than what had prescribed by them. And so, as we look at these bombings by Israel, and of course, President Joe Biden, the current president of the United States of America, saying that the United States stands by Israel, it's not hard to see why the U.S. stands by Israel. Because when an older white U.S. president looks at Israel, he sees a white counterpart that looks just like him. And so the same goes if you go to the UK, Poland, Sweden, etc. All of these European nations see themselves as the hero, and of course Palestine, aka Hamas, as the villains. Why? Because Palestine is the brown man, and his or her humanity for those that reside in Palestine cannot be treated the same as a loss of life in Israel. In layman terms, if one innocent Israeli dies, that means that more than likely 10 innocent Palestinians would die for that same one Israeli. Of course, I know the math is not mathing, but this is the undergrid of agreements that have taken place with these nation states that see each other fighting one another for forever. And this is one of the reasons why many African Americans have not downright quote unquote condemned the actions of Palestine, Because of the fact that we who occupy this here United States of America, 5 Minutes with Mike is proudly sponsored by sex can be used as a powerful tool, an even more powerful weapon. Welcome to the city of Atlanta, where the lights are bright, the scams are steady, and sex is the ultimate drug of choice. The Sex Tour, Volume 2, a novella by Michael D. Beckford, coming soon to ebook, paperback, and audio. Volume 1 of The Sex Tour is available now wherever books are sold. I feel that there is land that is also owed to us, based on just the promise of the 40 acres and a mule. We too can understand the plight of what it feels like to be oppressed, what it feels like to put us in certain cities and ghettos and have slave patrols, aka cops, to come in and take our best out of our communities, only to imprison them into a 21st century level of slavery that we call prisons. Ever listen to one of the ambassadors of Palestine said the other day? He said basically that the Gaza Strip in Palestine is one of the largest open air prisons in the world. There's basically one way in and no way out. For those of us that are here in America, you would think that I'm talking about the south side of Chicago. No. We're talking about the plight of the Palestinian people for over 50-something odd years that have been dealing with the oppression by the white man. But their white man is not Australia or Poland or Greece. It's Israel. Now, what Hamas did this past Saturday was habitually wrong to the 10th degree. No civilian should ever have to face what happened to them. Murdered. In cold-blooded, in their own land, kidnapped, beaten, and even claims of rape. This is the day that changed the lives of all those who occupy Israel. Now, down to my last segment. Will there ever be peace in the Middle East? I don't think that there will ever be peace in Israel or the Middle East as a whole, because at the end of the day, it's a hotbed of issues that has brewed and brewed and brewed and brewed and shaken and burst and brewed and then shaken and brewed again for as long as we can count the sand of the sea. Now, we're going to get into some black facts. African-American investor Isaac R. Johnson had patented his bicycle frame this day, October 10th, in history. Now, let's take him to church. Hallelujah. Both sides, Palestine and Israel, and Israel and Palestine have not been good border partners with each other for years. Imagine one day waking up in the United States and Mexico started a war with the U.S. This sort of, kind of the sort of war that I felt when I saw the videos of, particular moms, these particular individual Hamas coming in with gliders and rockets and all kinds of military capabilities. Imagine that. Just take a time to imagine that, especially if you're a U.S. citizen. I believe that both sides need to calm the H down and get back to the drawing table. Because the biggest loser is not Hamas, and definitely not the U.S. government-backed Israel military. Nope. No. The biggest losers is innocent civilians on both sides. Thinking about writing a book? I have a special offer for all of my listeners on podcasts and viewers on YouTube. You get $100 off instantly off my course, Let's Get Published, today on our website. So go to www.michaelbeckfordbrands.com/LGPF. Type in promo code in all caps, by the way, Publish Now 2023. That's michaelbeckfordbrands.com/LGPF. Promo code Publish Now 2023. Link is in the description below. Please like and hit that subscribe button. 5 Minutes of Mike is written, produced, and directed by Michael D. Beckford. All rights reserved. Copyright 2023 by Speak Publishing International and the Michael Beckford Media Group LLC production. Thank you for listening and watching.